Welcome back to Geometry B Credit 4. We're going to start lesson 18.2, Volumes of Pyramids. Alright, this is going to begin on page 12, so get ready in 3, 2, 1. So just so you remember, last time we learned about volume of prisms and cylinders, whereas today we'll be learning about the volume of pyramids. What do you notice as a difference? Well, with these ones, you'll notice that we have a top and a bottom, whereas this one we only have a bottom base, whereas these have two bases. So the volume of a pyramid would be 1/3 times area of the base times the height of the pyramid. So it looks very similar to that of the prisms that we learned in 18.1, only we're going to be tacking on a 1/3. Just so you know that multiplying by 1/3 is like dividing by 3. So if you're wondering how am I going to calculate this out, just know that whenever we see a 1/3, we're going to divide kind of our calculations by 3. Alright, so it says determine the volume of each pyramid. First things off, we're going to label our height, which starts from the top of our pyramid to the bottom. In this case would be 4 miles. Okay, for the area of our base, notice that our base is a triangle. So we'll be using the area of our triangle to figure out the area of our base. Now they give us 2 spaces, but I have 3 numbers. We'll be using these 2 here. Note that the side I didn't choose was our hypotenuse, whereas these were our legs. This is a specific vocabulary having to do with a right triangle, which is shown here. Here you'll notice that essentially hypotenuse would be the side opposite 90, opposite of our 90-degree angle, whereas the other 2 sides would be known as our legs, or length and width of our triangle. So we'll go ahead and plug those numbers in. I know this is not Geometry A first semester class, but that's just a little review. And this will pop up again, so we'll review this more and more. Alright, so first things first, let's go ahead and calculate 3 times 4 times 4. And you'll notice that I kept 1/2 and 1/3 still in play here in our calculations. So 3 times 4 times 4 would be 48. You're wondering, how am I supposed to compute this? Well, remember, multiplying by 1/3 and 1/2 is like dividing by 3 and then by 2. So if you'd like, take a moment right now and divide 48 divided by 3. And then take your answer and divide that by 2. And unpause. Hopefully you did that and you got the result of 8. Alright, so we'll continue on. I include the angle or the measure here. The measurement is in miles. Now I write to the 3rd power, not to cube 8, but just to know that I did multiply essentially 3 numbers, all having the word miles in it. Okay, again, determine the volume of our pyramid. Again, height we'll identify, which is from the top to the very bottom of our pyramid, in this case 5 inches. The area of our base is no longer a triangle, but instead a rectangle. And there are 2 numbers here that we're going to use. Length times width, in this case 2 times 5. So go ahead and take a moment right now and multiply this out. And hopefully you got 50. Let's go ahead and take a third, or divide 50 by 3. Let's go ahead and take a moment to do that. And unpause. Hopefully you did and got 16.6, and that 6 will repeat. Okay? Let's do the last one on that page. Again, I used inches because we did have inches as our measurement, and we had 3 numbers being multiplied with having inches as a measurement, so I put inches cubed. Alright, again, let's start by identifying the height, which is from the top to the bottom of our pyramid, in this case 12. And our base is, again, actually a bit of a square or rectangle. Square because they are the same, 11 and 11. So we're going to multiply 11 times 11 to figure out the area of our base. Go ahead and calculate all three numbers together. And unpause. Hopefully you got 11 times 11 times 12 is, 1,452. Go ahead and take a moment right now and divide that by 3. And unpause. Hopefully you got 484. All right. Moving right along. Again, our measurement is centimeters. So I put centimeters here. And I put to the third power because we did multiply essentially three numbers with the measurement of centimeters 3 times. So centimeters to the third power, or cubed. All right. Next one, we're going to be finding the volume of a composite figure. Notice how I have essentially the same two pyramids of the same size kind of stuck together. So I'm going to use my volume formula for a pyramid. Notice that it has a square with a square base of 6 inches long on both sides and a height of 8 inches. It might be helpful to draw this out, so I am going to show that on screen, kind of them separated out. And I will label the height 8 inches and my base 6 by 6 as a square. Alright, and that's for the top and bottom. So essentially we're only going to calculate the volume for one of these because once we have one, we can kind of figure out both volumes total together. So the height of our pyramid is 8 inches. The area of our base, we're going to multiply 6 times 6 together. So take a moment right now and go ahead and calculate that out. And unpause. Hopefully you got 288. Take a moment right now and go ahead and divide by 3. And unpause. Hopefully you got 96. Now because I have two pyramids that are the same size, we're essentially going to add, because like I said, there are two pyramids of the same size, we would add 96 plus 96 because each one of these has a volume of 96. So this one has a volume of 96 and so does this. So go ahead and take a moment right now and add those two volumes together. And that would be 192. Again, inches cubed because that was our measurement, and we did multiply three numbers that have inches as their measurement together. Alright, so here we're going to find the volume of all three shapes because there are three shapes here. There are two pyramids, both 3 feet in height. If you wanted to know which one, how long each of the squares would be, well, what is half of 10? Since both of them together is 10, what's half of 10? 5. Alright, so there's two square pyramids. Because they're square pyramids, that means if this is 5, that's 5 feet, and if that's 5, that's 5 feet as well. So let's take a moment and find the volume of our area of each pyramid. Since it's the same size, once we have one, we can kind of add them together. So again, let's go ahead and label our length and width. Our height is 3. Go ahead and take a moment right now and calculate that out. And hopefully you calculated that out to be 75. You divided by 3 and got 25. Awesome. Alright, so now since I have two pyramids that are the same size, we're going to go ahead and add those together. 25 plus 25, which is 50 feet. Awesome. Great. Alright, now we have to find the volume of our box. So I kind of drew a separate picture of that. With the measurements 2 feet, 10 feet, and 5 feet. The box is about 2 feet tall. And yes, we're going to multiply 5 times 10. One student did say, for finding the volume of my box, it doesn't really matter the order, since I'm just multiplying them all out. I guess in the case of calculating, it doesn't really matter, but you should still get in that pattern of, making sure the height's there, the base is there, because you'll notice here that order may matter later. So just make sure that you are kind of following that pattern. But calculate this out right now. And that would be about 100 feet cubed. So what we're going to do is we're going to add these volumes up, our 50 feet plus 100 feet, which is how many feet? A lot of feet. Just kidding. It's 150 feet cubed. All right. Oh, and we're here at the checkpoint. That is kind of the shortest lesson for geometry. So again, here we have two pyramids kind of stuck together with a base edge of 5.7, height of 3 millimeters. So just a picture to kind of show you where everything's at. So the height's going to be about 3 millimeters. Area of our base is going to be these two multiplied together. So take a moment right now. Let's go ahead and multiply that out. And unpause. Hopefully you multiplied that out and got this. And go ahead and now divide by 3. And unpause. Hopefully when you divided by 3 you got this. Okay. You will be asked to do a couple of the homework questions. Before we go on to the homework, there are two pyramids and they both have the same size. So let's go ahead and add those two together since there are two pyramids with that same volume. In unpause, this would be our total volume for this 3D composite figure. All right, now for the homework. It is from your textbook. Make sure you're doing those. If you have questions on how to do these, as I'm going to just kind of click through these rather quickly, please come into the center. We have tutors and teachers who are willing to help you with each and every one of these questions that you see before you. All right, so if you have questions, come on in. With that being said, we'll see you back here on the next video. Take care.